What's up, beautiful, beautiful people? How are you guys doing today? My name is Luffy. I'm coming back to you guys again with another video. And in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the Paycheck Protection Program and some recent developments that are coming with this program. If you guys are self-employed, if you guys are entrepreneurs, if you guys are small business owners, all of this information is going to be relevant to you. If you're not any of those things, then A, you should try to be, and B, still stay tuned until the end of this video because I'm going to show you exactly how all of this information is still relevant to you. All right, so the CARES Act passed back in March created the Paycheck Protection Program. A lot of issues have emerged after the program was created, and that's why we saw in the HEROES Act, which I talked about a couple weeks ago, new verbiage that was working to ease a lot of the restrictions that were placed on the Paycheck Protection Program. This bill that was just passed yesterday by the House of Representatives, H.R. Bill 7010, also known as the Paycheck Protection Program Flexibility Act, goes even further. So I want to dive into it just a little bit, show you guys some of its verbiage, and then, as I promised, explain how this is sad. That's all I'll say for now. Paycheck Protection Program, 75% of the money that you get had to have been used for payroll costs. And a lot of small business owners were upset with this because they thought that that was too strict. The Paycheck Protection Program also made it so that you had to use the funds within 8 weeks. And in a lot of circumstances, this was unreasonable. Although most states, if not all of them, have started reopening, not all businesses have reopened. So in a lot of instances, we were finding employers in a situation where they were acting as a secondary form of unemployment insurance, as opposed to the employees going on unemployment and getting paid through the state. Employees would go back to their work, do nothing, and get paid through the Paycheck Protection Program. In neither situation was the federal government really happy, so they knew they needed to make amendments to the program. Also, if you think about some businesses like restaurants, for instance, restaurants spend a large portion of their revenue on rent as opposed to other businesses. So the 75-25 split didn't work in their favor as much as in other businesses or under other business models. So, I already addressed some of this when I talked about the HEROES Act. They updated some of the verbiage to ease and relax the legislation, but this takes it a step further. So, number one, the covered period, they want to extend it from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. Or until the end of the year. So instead of having 2 months, you have 6 months or until the end of the year to use all of the money. That's big, okay? Number two, they want to reduce the amount of payroll that you have to pay with the funds from 75% to 60%. This is also huge because businesses can now use, if you got a $100,000 loan, before you could only have used $25,000, say, for mortgage interest and for rent and a couple other covered expenses. Well, now you can use $40,000 of that money. And if you guys combine what I just said with what I'm about to tell you, you'll see the storm that's about to brew, if it's not already brewing. Here's the biggest change, okay? They gave exemptions based off of employee availability. So, question 40 of the Paycheck Protection Program, frequently asked questions, that was released by the SBA and the Treasury, it addressed this kind of. It stated that if an employer attempts to rehire an employee because they received Paycheck Protection Program funds, and that employee refuses to come back to work, that employee is reduced from the forgiveness calculation. They don't count towards the number of employees, your head count that you have to return to. So your denominator and numerator of that equation are reduced by 1, which is a benefit to business owners. This is a step even further than that. That is good. I think that should happen. This is well, I'm not going to really tell you whether I think all of this is good or bad. I'm just going to leave that up to you, but I'll explain to you what it is and what you need to do. I don't fundamentally believe in good and bad necessarily. If an employer who took a PPP fund can certify that the employee doesn't want to come back to work, and that you're not able to find similar employees before the end of the year, similarly qualified employees before the end of the year, then that's one way of it not applying, as it reducing the numerator and denominator. But B is the biggest one. If you're able to document that your business isn't able to return to the same level of business activity as it was before February 15th, if a business is able to certify that they can do the same amount of business with 10 employees as they were doing with 20 before, they got PPP funds from 20 employees and only had to pay it out to 10 with more relaxed regulations, it kind of sets up a perfect storm for business owners to take that money and put it in their pocket to profit off of this. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I'm telling you guys to start your own business, to be entrepreneurs, to be owners, and join the ownership class. This bill passed yesterday 417 to 1. 417 to 1. Think of how contentious the HEROES Act was. Think of how contentious it's been to get that second stimulus check to people. How many people go on YouTube and on Instagram and on other social media, $1,200 check, here's more updates. They've been giving you updates about the $1,200 check for weeks, but Congress, if not months, but Congress has made no progress on the subject. But they did make progress on this. Why? Because this is their interest. See, individuals are separated from business interests. You need to decide as a person what it is that you want to follow. If wealthy people have stocks and buy real estate and own businesses, if wealthy people have access to politicians, if the politicians are the wealthy people who own stocks and businesses and real estate, then they're going to fight for their interests, not the individuals. So you need to decide, do you want to fight for the individual? Fight for yourself as an individual by holding out for a $1,200 check? Or do you want to join the interests of those who are already fighting for what they believe they're going to get? Business owners. See, I'm not going to tell you guys if I think all of this is right or wrong, or this isn't a discussion of morality and ethics. This is a discussion of reality. The reality of the situation is politicians are wealthy people. Politicians are business owners, own real estate. They own stocks. Laws, rules, and legislation is made to protect their interests. So join their interests. Own stocks. Own real estate. Start a business. Because you'll see that they're fighting for you. Because they're fighting for themselves. This PPP update, if it passes and becomes law, I promise you, this subsection B under number 7 will be the most abused section I have ever seen. And I'm telling you guys this as someone who has what I believe to be a minute experience with business. I grew up in business. I think that I fundamentally understand incentives really well. And that's why I know that this section is what's gonna be abused. But it was written to be abused. See, $1,200 stimulus checks are cool, but $120,000 PPP checks are even cooler. That's all I gotta say for today, guys. I'm out. One love as always. Bye.